All right. Well, it is good to be here with all of you. My name is Colleen Lowrie, as was said, and I am in Guelph, but Community Innovation Hub stretches so much larger than that. So we stretch across Canada and even have some folks who converse with us that come from the United States. So that's really cool. Um, what a community innovation hub is, community innovation hubs are where change makers are able to gather and support each other in the important work of really thinking about how we're going to do church life differently, community life differently, societal life differently. It's a space for those change makers to build out their ideas and connect with other like-minded individuals. So we're not one location. Community innovation hubs, we support communities of faith that are thinking about a new way of acting in the world as communities of faith, as leaders in their neighborhoods and communities. And we are a support and inspiration space to help give life to those change leaders and really help them feel seen and heard. Um, as for where we came from and what we've been up to, Community Innovation Hub is the brainchild of Carla Leone and Peter Miller. Um, I find the story that Carla shares really interesting. She'd been doing social entrepreneurial work for some time and bouncing around different locations, but felt that all of the different spots she was working at, so coffee shops, home offices, etc., she was lacking spiritual support for her work while simultaneously looking for a consistent space to work in that was going to be community generating and supportive. And that's why she started thinking about community innovation hubs. Peter was thinking more around um, repurposing space, and he had worked in the for-profit business sector for quite some time. And when he retired from that space, he switched his focus to um, the social entrepreneurial space and working with smaller businesses and that sort of thing, and really sees communities of faith as an opportunity for support and community for those spiritual entrepreneurs, social entrepreneur change makers. Me personally, I joined Community Innovation Hub in June, straight out of seminary. And it's been a really interesting learning space for me because I'm able to work on some administrative support, which is not something we learn about much in theological school. But also I get a chance to support and learn about change making that is happening across the country. And that's really, really cool for me. Um, I think the thing I want to talk about today is actually a recent piece of our journey. Um, we often advocate a model that you listen to the needs of the community, really spend some time gathering information, talking to your neighbors, talking to folks who are in church communities, but also perhaps in other communities outside of communities, and then listen for what is needed, experiment with a solution, and then change course until you get it right. And I think we have been doing a lot of that personally and as a group in the past few months. And I think some of that comes out of just learning along the way, but some of it was sparked really in a big way for us from some conversations we actually had at Skylight. So that's exciting for me. Where we heard a lot of change makers, a lot of leaders, a lot of people that are doing socially innovative work saying, you know, we have all these ideas. We have lists and lists and lists of ideas. In fact, even folks who aren't particularly interested in change have lists of ideas. But we have no support to help us continue through all of this work that we're doing. We feel like we're moving through molasses. And it's just the fear of change, the fear of the challenge of doing something new is so big. And people were just really looking for that space of support. And so we've been focusing on building networks. So if you're interested in embracing the spirit, you're probably interested in change. And we build networks of folks who are interested all across the journeys of what kinds of change looks like, to have conversations about supporting each other as we continue on this journey. Some of my favorite moments from that, I was talking with, I've actually talked to a couple change leaders that have said, oh, everything's fine, things are going well, you know, we're hitting the marks that we want to be. But when you say to them, I see that you've done this and this and this and this, and that's really cool and really courageous, and I know it takes a lot of faith to do it. And I hear that you're struggling with these things, and let's talk about that and appreciate how hard this is. It's one of the first times people have heard that from someone, and really felt like someone's connecting with them. And I've seen tears well up in people's eyes and that sort of thing, which is heartbreaking because we have so much we have to do in order to be communities of faith responding to the world. And we're making it really challenging. Every community of faith makes it really challenging for that to be done. But it's also exciting because it means that we as Community Innovation Hub are connecting with people, and we can figure out what needs to happen going forward. So we have kits, we have events, we get involved with social innovation challenges, all those kinds of things, and those are all really exciting things, and they're energizing and inspiring. And I think anyone who participates in a social innovation challenge, for example, it comes away just so energized and so ready to go out and do something in the world. And that's true of a community roundtable as well. But it's kind of the one-on-one conversations and the conversations we have in a network where someone can bring up this challenge that they're having in their congregation and say, listen, this is something that's going on. Is anyone else having these issues? And everyone jumps in to say, yes, I've heard of this issue, or I'm working on this issue, or we had this issue, but here's some things that we were able to do to get through it. And people go away feeling like they can talk to their board and say, you know, we need to do these things in order to make this happen. And it feels like we are really affecting change in our society. And I think that's the coolest part of Community Innovation Hub, is that we're having those moments of just complete transformative creative sparks. And that's a really important faith piece and a really important piece of following the spirit and that sort of thing. So I think I've talked for a little bit of time now, so I'm going to say you can stop the record button, Joshua,